Hey, what's up everybody? It's Karsten Craning. I'm back at it again with another YouTube video. Today, I'm going to be talking to you guys about trends that are in and out in 2023. This can be anything. A lot of it is fashion, some of it is not, but these are just general trends that you guys should be aware of. First off, in for 2023, being a hater. It's in all 2023. Just being a hater. And out for 2023 is this specific brand of Y2K, which I'm going to call cemetery tap out core aesthetic. This subcategory of the Y2K aesthetic, which has obviously been blowing up, is really not doing it very well. I'm talking about tap out, oversized jeans. This type of look is not really hitting. Look, a lot of you guys are paying a lot of money to look like the physical embodiment of a Monster Energy drink. You all look like the face of teen pregnancy in 2007. Teen X, more like teen pregnancy. I know a lot of people participating in this trend weren't alive or weren't old enough to remember what people who dressed like this were really like. But I hate to break it to you, they weren't cool like Ken Carson or Cemetery. They were actually just really lame people who usually had anger issues and like really loved Eminem. And this version of Y2K is just a no-go for me into 2023 because honestly, this type of person still exists out in the wild who you all are emulating, and they're nowhere as cool as you think. On the flip side of that, a different type of Y2K, which I think can stay and continue to grow into 2023, is what I'm gonna call lane or cybercore. The reason I'm calling it lane or cybercore is because a lot of it is focused on like cyberpunk kind of serial experiments of lane, and somehow the Lane theme song always works its way into one of these outfits. I don't really know how, don't ask the questions. But I think this is a little bit more tasteful than the other version of Y2K, simply for the reason that this breed of Y2K was a lot more countercultural at the time and just a lot cooler. The other breed of Y2K that I just talked about was a lot more mainstream and just got a lot more cringy because of that. What I'm trying to say is that pretty much this type of Y2K, the cybercore or lanecore, was cooler at the time, and therefore it's cooler now. And it's hard to blame everyone for not knowing the differences in the types of Y2K and what is cool and what is not, because a lot of you guys were young at the time, and a lot of you guys have been kind of led astray by brands like Balenciaga, who had the cringe raver jeans that everybody ate up. And speaking of Balenciaga, I think that's going to be out in 2023. Simply put, for obvious reasons, but also because they really have honestly not done a great job of improving fashion in the past few or so years that they have been popular. Look, they came up with a few good shoes that I thought were pretty cool, but besides that, mainly what people were going crazy over were these t-shirts and hoodies that had an ironic saying or the Balenciaga logo on them. And you guys were paying upwards of $500 for things like a hoodie that says "I love cats" and acting like it's some sort of masterpiece. And I'm going to be honest, a bunch of edgelords were scamming you, pretending that this was some sort of crazy, ironic, ultra deep thing when they were really just scamming you guys for money. Also, some other hyper ironic brands that I think are out for 2023. Maybe Hot Model Sex, a brand which is mainly known for the founder really wanting a female intern soon. A little cringe and creepy in my book. Another brand which could also be out is Praying, a brand founded by two white men who just have a passion for cutting edge satire and really facing society's problems today. And the way in which they did that is by making fun of disabled people. Surely they wouldn't lose their sponsorship with Adidas from that, would they? It looks like they still have it. I wonder if that has anything to do with one of the brand's founders' fathers being an intense real estate mogul who's a multimillionaire who has quite insane connections, and maybe they could avoid or pay off Adidas, which seems like a brand that has canceled and cut off contracts for a lot less. That couldn't have anything to do with it, could it? Another in for 2023 is nepotism. Everybody's talking about it. You guys gotta cop some nepotism this year into 2023. Something that is also in that I think can stay is Gorpcore, hiking boots, rain jackets, the list goes on. My only wish for this trend is that maybe people would expand on the brands that they like besides just Arc'teryx. I actually made a whole video about different brands in Gorpcore that you guys could go check out. As far as something that needs to go out, this one is for the ladies. I'm talking about athleisure with sports coats, specifically like the Skims tights or the shapewear where you just throw an oversized blazer on it. Besides this just being lazy and uninspired, it honestly just looks bad, and you can do better. I know you can. But an in is going to be Uggs for men, and while this trend is great, I think a few people are going to learn the downside of it, and that it's just going to make their feet too sweaty to participate in it. Out though, however, is going to have to be Andrew Tate. Some of you guys have been taking advice from a man who flexes his airsoft gun collection on the internet, and unfortunately, I'm just not going to be able to allow that in 2023. Also on that same note, unfortunately, Red Scare is also out. I'm sorry, I don't make the rules. It's only fair, and it makes it balanced. But an in is going to be alternative camos, specifically maybe camo workwear jackets. By this, I mean camos which don't give off as much of a hunting vibe. There are a lot of different camo patterns besides the ones that you probably are familiar with, and these are becoming popular, and I see this becoming a larger trend, especially with brands like Carhartt Whip or Carhartt Work in Progress, which I think are going to become a lot bigger in 2023. Atheism is out for 2023, but something that I think is going to be in is maybe futuristic sci-fi core, I'm gonna call this. I'm talking about a lot of things in the line of brands like Hamkiss or Hienseo. A lot of brands are kind of going in this direction, and I see this being kind of an offshoot of the way people have styled a lot of archive pieces in this very heavy, layered manner. And I see people who have been doing this kind of archive styling, which often doesn't involve archive pieces, kind of going into a more sci-fi, military route. And this is something that I see becoming a lot bigger in 2023, especially with brands like Hamkiss landing huge deals with brands like Adidas. Also, Rick Owens does a very similar thing to this type of vibe. Rick has a lot of micro vibes within the grander Rick vibe, if you know what I'm saying. So in his work, I think he has a lot of pieces that are kind of more futuristic or military that go well with this aesthetic. And I think that specific vibe in Rick's universe is going to be really big in 2023 and continue to be successful. Now on the flip side of that, I think Rick Owens' Vamp Rockstar Core is out. Guys, it's been 2 years since the release of Whole Lotta Red. You have to let go and find a new personality trait. And I think I'm just a little tired of the glam stuff in general. Not saying it's bad, but I think there are only so many times in which you can see Kiss heels with really skinny denim, and I'm just a little tired of it, and I think a lot of other people are too. But something else that I see being really, really big in 2023 are just Korean brands in general. Obviously, Japanese fashion has been huge for years, but Korean fashion is something that's just popping up. And there are just a lot of great brands and companies coming out of Korea currently. Two big heavy hitters are the previously mentioned Hienseo, post-archive fashion, and I actually have this video here which talks about a few of those Korean brands that I think might be big in 2023. Something that is out is mullets. It's just becoming a red flag at this point, and we can forget about it. But, and in this year is gonna be freestyle peeing. Out is going to be artisanal fashion. It's just weird to see some of you guys flex CCP and Guidi like your 15-year-old who just got his first Gucci belt, and artisanal fashion has kind of become a little bit more played out, unfortunately. On the flip side of that, calzones are in. They're like a more efficient pizza, but be careful, it is a lot easier to burn your mouth on these. Out is caviar. You guys are putting too much caviar on things. It's good every once in a while, but you guys are making caviar corny. Another in for me is going to be kryptek. Now this kind of goes off of the camo trend I talked about earlier, but kryptek is a particular brand or pattern of camo that has a very unique and kind of cool design, to say the least. The pattern is copyrighted, and to license it out is pretty expensive, so the average kryptek jacket retails about $300 when the same jacket without that pattern is going to be $75 retail. Now with that being said, while retail is pretty steep, resale is pretty good right now, and I can definitely see this going along with not only the Cybercore military aesthetics, but just people who are more interested in camos for some reason as well. Another big in for 2023 is going to be mergers and acquisitions. If you know, you know. Also, talking on the phone instead of texting is going to be in. You need to do that human contact thing. It's beautiful and it enriches your life. Out is number 9 tees, and my reason for this is because I love number 9, but we are so far from understanding the context of these shirts. I'm sorry, like what the fuck, like we have no clue what's going on. People are just wearing number 9 shirts. They're just putting that shit on with no purpose and direction. Also, Bodhi is gonna be an out for me. I'm sorry, it's a cool brand and it's a cool concept. Taking historical garments and fabric and repurposing them and reconstructing them is such a cool idea for a brand. But this is the case of when the customer doesn't really respect or actually align with the brand vision, and it causes the whole brand image itself to suffer. They just tend to be like kind of uppity white people from the East Coast who like have like Cape Cod, I don't know, Martha Vineyards, that type of vibe. Along with Bodhi, another thing that kind of goes along with that I'm just gonna say is out is gonna be bell bottoms. But an in that I think is going to be in for 2023 is abstract jewelry. When it comes to jewelry, a lot of the jewelry that people have worn for the past couple of years have been particularly like traditional. A lot of times it's a little bit gothic or prehistoric feeling jewelry or ancient feeling. Think of brands like Worksat, Mukin, Chrome Hearts. This kind of style of jewelry has been really in, but what I see being in for 2023 is more abstract styles of jewelry. These are brands where the type of jewelry and the design of them have less of a historical context and more of an avant-garde, simplistic, minimalist feeling to them. And then for my final in 2023, I think something that's gonna be huge is the brand Oakley. But I think Oakley, particularly vintage Y2K Oakley, is going to be huge in 2023. And I think collectors are gonna go crazy for this brand. So what do you guys think of my list? What do you think is gonna be out for 2022? What do you think needs to be in for 2023? Leave a comment down below. Thank you again. My name is Karsten Craning. Please like, subscribe, and have a great day.